guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for tonight's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. As per usual, I have my wicked candle in here, making the whole room smell like caramel apples, putting us in the mood of spooky season. We are on day 20 of 31 days straight of uploads. So 31 days of Halloween. I hope you guys are enjoying this series, and I am having so much fun filming these videos, but I am getting tired of filming every single day. But I'm still enjoying it. So I don't have too much to ramble about today. I'm just gonna jump into my email. So I have a bunch of stories from you guys that you guys have sent, and thank you so much to everyone who's reached out and sent me your stories. I'm so excited to continue reading them. So this one was actually sent to me a little while ago, so it's been a few months that this one has been sitting in my inbox, so let's jump into it. This happened in 2014 when I was 17. I lived with my father, and my cousin Allie was staying with us for a few months. It was a Friday, and every Friday morning my dad left to go spend the weekend at his girlfriend's house. Allie left for work in the morning, and I woke up around 2 p.m. to get ready for a slumber party with a few of my coworkers. I took a brief shower, and when I hopped out to dry off, I decided to leave the bathroom door open because no one was home. I started putting moisturizer in my hair when all of a sudden, I heard keys at the back door. I assumed it was my dad coming back because he forgot something. I quickly shut the door and I listened for footsteps. After a few seconds, I didn't hear anything. I called out to my dad and I got no response. So I grabbed a towel to wrap around my body, opened the bathroom door, and I called out for my dad one more time. Still, no response. I walked from the bathroom to the back door, pulled back the curtains on the door, and I saw no one. I came to the conclusion that it had to be my neighbor unlocking his door. I get dressed and I start doing my makeup. Halfway through doing my makeup, I hear the sound of keys jingling again. At this point, I start to become annoyed. I immediately run to the door and I unlock it, and I see no one standing there. I decided to grab my speaker and play music to help me calm down. Even with music playing, I still heard the sound of keys, but this time they sounded like they were in my dad's bedroom door, which is across from the bathroom. I finally finished getting ready and I headed over to the party. Fast forward a few hours later, I get a text from my cousin Allie asking me if I was trying to get into the apartment. I told her that I left a few hours ago. She tells me that she has been hearing keys jingling in the back door for about 30 minutes and thought I was messing with her. I told her I had been hearing the same thing during the day. I told her to sleep with the TV on if she needed to and to text me if anything progressed. Thankfully, nothing else happened that night. We never heard the sound of the keys after that incident, but the activity inside the house did become more frequent. I can't help but wonder if I accidentally let something in when I opened the back door. And that's it for now. I have more stories I will send soon. Thanks for reading. So thank you so much for sending that. That one was definitely more of a mundane story than some of the ones we've read on the channel, but it's still a really creepy story. So I hate the fact that you kept hearing it. And then to make matters worse, you leave and then your cousin hears the exact same thing. So clearly there was an entity just messing with you guys. And that is so scary. Years ago, I bought 2 houses from an estate adjoining properties. Big, lots of agriculture community with big mature trees, pines, and maples. These houses had newer siding. They needed windows and electric upgrades. They needed kitchen and bath remodeling as well. Not a big deal. I worked on the smaller 1-bedroom house first and just ran extension cords from the other houses for light and tools. One fall evening, it was time to wrap things up, and I put the cords away, and as I pulled the back door shut, it was like somebody was pulling the knob from the other side. Finally, after a few tugs on the door slammed shut. And that just wasn't normal. So I dug my keys out and I unlocked the door, fumbled around inside for my flashlight, the kind that are aluminum and double as a club. Just added that because if you read this, I've never heard a Canuck pronounce aluminum. I didn't find anything out of place and I left by the back door again, closed smoothly this time. But my light was shining on the doorknob and it rattled back and forth a few times. I closed the screen door and I walked backwards toward my pickup and I left in a hurry. I always left before dusk after that. So that's kind of weird. It was like something was pulling on the other side and you were very curious of how I was gonna say aluminum. Were you thinking that I was gonna say it like aluminium? We definitely don't say it like that. We say it as aluminum in Canada, but that's definitely really creepy. And their title was, this was a bit odd. So it definitely wasn't like a super paranormal story, but definitely was odd. So thank you so much for sending and let's move on to the next one. I have a lot of scary paranormal stories, so let me know if you'd wanna hear more. Here's one that I'm sending. Isn't that scary? But it's how it all started, and I still have no clue what the hell happened. When I was 5 years old, I had always talked to my invisible friends. But there was this one friend, Max, who was extra special to me. We would chat and hang out all the time, and I made sure he had his own special place wherever I went. Wherever I was at the dinner table, or even in the car, Max had to have a spot. or else I would throw a tantrum like no other. My life was pretty happily filled with Max and my other invisible friends, but I was always being pulled out of class to see a counselor because I wouldn't talk to the other kids and they thought I was crazy. But one day I had to go for surgery. I'm okay. And we arrived at the hospital the day of the surgery, and I was scared and nervous. As we walked into the waiting area, there he was, a little boy my age. I never talked to kids my age, let alone played with them, but to my mom's surprise, I talked to this boy and I played with him like I knew him forever. My mom struck up a conversation with his mom, and they found out he was getting ready for surgery as well. It took us back to surgery at the same time, and my mom continued to talk to his mom and realized she never asked her name or her son's name. She then told my mom her name, but my mom's jaw dropped when she told her son's name. It was Max. After my surgery that day, I never mentioned Max again. I still had invisible friends, not so nice ones, but it was like Max never existed to me. I don't know what he was, an angel, a ghost, a spirit guide, or just an insane coincidence. Honestly though, I've had too many paranormal encounters to just chop that up into coincidences. Hope that the little boy was okay, and I'm glad that you're okay, but that's very interesting that you ran into a kid named Max and you talked to him like it was your long lost friend that you've known forever, and then you just never spoke about Max again. So that's a very interesting coincidence. So I agree with you. Very weird. I've had my fair share of creepy, unexplainable experiences. For example, when I was little, I used to constantly tell my mother to scare away the people that were in my room. One night, my favorite stuffed animal was with me in bed, next to my ear, and I heard a very clear whisper coming from it, as if it was possessed. I was freaking out for a few nights. Still, I wasn't convinced that ghosts were real, and I thought I must have imagined all of these things. But one night, something happened that was so weird, and I don't know what to make of it. I was 17 and my brother was 14. We were home alone for a weekend. Our house is a very old house and can be noisy. That night, when we were both lying in bed, it was dead quiet, until I heard someone walking up the stairs. I heard heavy footsteps making the steps creak, and whoever this was stopped in the hallway in front of my door. I swear to God, this was so real. I held my breath. I tried to be as quiet as possible. I knew this couldn't be my brother because he was asleep in his room, and I was sure because he said goodnight to each other before I watched him close his door. After a few minutes of silence, I decided to get out of bed and grab an ornament to possibly use as a weapon against this intruder. I yelled my brother's name so he would wake up and see what was going on. I slowly walked to my bedroom door and I opened it. Nothing. But at the same time, my brother opened his door, weapon in hand, and he said, "Did you hear that too?" This gave me the chills. We spent an hour searching the entire house, closets and all, and there was no one there. To this day, we are both 100% sure we heard those footsteps, yet we have no idea whose they were. Oh my God, that's so creepy. So you definitely had an entity in your house, and that is fucking terrifying. Thank you so much for sending me that. That is so freaking creepy. Jesus Christ. And I hate the fact that your brother also heard it at the same time. So it's not even like you were imagining it. It definitely happened. So that's so scary. Oh my God. All right, so when I was around 9 or 10, my family moved blindly into a house. It was a cute home with a ton of space. If a tree didn't fall on that house and the paranormal things didn't happen, then I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. The house was built in the early 70s or 60s, and we didn't background check it first. That was probably our biggest mistake. My first encounter with the entity was when I had a friend over for the night. We had a show on the TV, and then we heard scratching sounds from the front door. The living room, that's what room we were in, was right across from the hallway that led to the front door. I leaned over to see if it was my cat, and when I looked, nothing was there. I thought he went upstairs, so I told my friend to stay downstairs while I go check. I got into my parents' room, and there he was, sound asleep on their bed. So my family is made up of Christians, Catholics, and Mormons. Most of my family doesn't believe in ghosts or spirits, so it was sort of hard to just shake it off. I told my friend that nothing was there and the cat was asleep, and she had the most scared look on her face. She tried to shake it off and tell me that she was just joking about hearing it, but I know damn well she heard it too. I told my mom about it, and she told me I was just faking it for attention. I think that offended the entity. In return, my mother got touched. First, she got taps on her shoulder and her ankles got grabbed from under her bed. After a while, we realized it was only targeting the females in the house. There was 2 males and 2 females. We started to call it Lucas since it was close to Lucifer. Whatever was in that house was never human. Lucas loved showing himself to me. On multiple occasions, he appeared as a shadow or a white blob and a human at the end of my bed. It would always tap on my window 3 times. It was always a pattern of 3. The whole situation got worse, so we talked to our pastor about it, and he told us to read the Bible and pray for it to leave the house. My father eventually brought sage when we were close to our moving out date. When we started to burn it, I felt relieved and less tense in the house. We now live better and more comfortable in our current home. Sometimes I do think Lucas attached to me though. I hear and see things sometimes, and my mother feels the same way. I hope it didn't follow me. P.S. I apologize if this is poorly written. Got it done at 1 in the morning. No, it was perfectly fine to read. I understood it completely, and Jesus Christ, I can't believe you guys named it. That is giving it way too much power. You definitely don't want to acknowledge this type of entities in your house, and you definitely don't want to name it. But the fact that it literally grabbed your mom's ankles when she was getting into bed is so terrifying. I hate that so much. Oh my God. No, thank you. So I think I'm going to read one more and then we're going to wrap up. And then I'm going to be filming another video tonight because again, I don't have time to film tomorrow, but I'm going to be reading the next update of the There's Something Seriously Wrong with My Apartment. So this is the last story that I'm going to read in this video though. This is my first time ever seeing a spirit. I was about 7 years old. Me and my sister shared a finished attic as our bedroom. She was the mean big sister. She always got the remote to the TV and loved sleeping in the dark. I hated and I still hate sleeping without a light, even now at 21, as a mom myself. She told me she was shutting the TV off and I hurried and I got my stuffed animals all propped around me in bed. She counted from 3 to 1 and as soon as she shut the TV off, my eyes immediately shifted to our stairs. I saw a black shadow figure, a woman. She had on a dress from what I could tell. One of her feet was on the bedroom floor while the other was on the last step, and she was holding onto our railing, looking at me. I couldn't see her face, but I just knew she was looking at me. I can't remember what happened after I saw her though, just that I woke up the next morning. It's like my mind went blank right after I saw her. Supposedly, there was a bar that burnt down and then the house was built where the bar used to be. I have never actually confirmed this though, it's all a rumor. Experience 2. This was 2010 and we had moved literally around the corner from the house where I had my first experience. I loved sleeping in the living room. I always felt watched in my room for some reason. And we had a living room and dining room. The dining room being next to the kitchen had an entry to the basement and the stairs to go upstairs. We also kept our family computer in the dining room. My mom told me my stepsister were staying over that night so I couldn't sleep in the living room. We had a small love seat in the corner of our dining room and she told me that I could sleep there instead. So I did. And everything was fine until I randomly woke up and my eyes immediately shifted to the kitchen entryway. There stood a very pale woman with dark eyes, curly ginger hair, and she wore a really old styled red dress. She was just staring at me with an expressionless face. I hid under the blanket and I started crying. I could feel her energy shift toward our family computer. Our computer was very old, and sometimes when you'd close out of YouTube, the music videos, they would still play, so we would just turn down the volume on the speakers when we didn't feel like restarting the computer. I heard the volume get turned up and down as if she was playing with the speaker knob. I screamed for my stepsister and I received no answer. I finally ran up the stairs all the way to my parents' room and at the end of the hall. I found out that my stepsister ended up going home instead of staying the night. My mom didn't believe me and she told me I was just dreaming, but my stepdad always had experiences with spirits and always tried his best to listen to me. This year, my mom told me that my aunt from my father's side told her that the females on our side of the family have a gift and can see, hear, feel, and talk to spirits. Now she believes me, years later. Experience 3. Same house, same year, and I was laying at the end of my bed in my room watching Disney Channel, probably Phineas and Ferb. I had a computer chair in my room, and on the chair sat a small desk fan that was unplugged. I looked over and I saw the cord to the fan slowly float up into the air. The cord was literally levitating in front of my eyes. I didn't run. I jumped down the stairs and screamed to my parents, and they were sitting in the living room just asking me what happened. Of course, Mom didn't believe me. And I still can't believe years later that something levitated in front of my very eyes. My twins are getting close to the age I was when I started having experiences, and I'm just waiting for the day they run to me saying they saw something. I hope your kids never end up seeing entities and nothing ends up bothering you guys. I'm curious though, do you still see these types of things as an adult? Are you still experiencing things as a parent in your new house? Let us know. Send me another email if you are experiencing things, because I would be very interested to know if you're still experiencing these things and if your kids ever actually end up becoming mediums, because that's super creepy and I hate that. And I really, really, really hope they don't end up having any issues. But this is where I'm going to end the video because we are at the 18-minute mark. So if you guys made it to the end of the video, please leave me your favorite color in the form of a heart in my comments down below to let me know you guys made it to the end of the video. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to leave me a comment, make sure to like this video. It really helps with the algorithm, boosting my video in the algorithm so that more people can see it. And if you guys have any scary stories, any paranormal stories, any creepy stories in general that you want to share with the channel, please feel free to reach out to me and I will definitely read them. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.